My name is Brent Winston, and I'm Senior Legal Counsel at the Vertus Group. I was doing my dual business and law degree out in London, Ontario at the Ivey Business School in the Faculty of Law at Western University, and I was fortunate enough to land a summer job at a large corporate firm in downtown Toronto. Realized that it wasn't entirely what I was looking for out of my professional career, so I moved to a mid-market firm where I specialized in private equity. I had no plans of leaving that firm at all until a recruiter had reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's this really interesting opportunity that I have for you." I said to the recruiter, "Yeah, I'm not really that interested." He said, "Trust me, I think you want to take a look at this opportunity." So I learned a little bit more about the opportunity, and it was for a legal counsel role at Jonas Software. Really liked the idea of doing M&A work in-house, as well as the ability to do some of the commercial work and other work that comes with working at a business. And I started at Jonas Corporate, which is our parent company. I worked a lot with Jim Fedigan and Zach Plenner throughout my 2 years in Jonas Corporate, to the point where when the Vertus Group was formed, Jim, Zach, and I discussed, thought it was a good fit for me to join the Vertus Group exclusively. And here we are. Changes on a day-to-day basis. Some days are heavily involved with M&A work, where we're either doing diligence on a business, we're negotiating documents in connection with a transaction to acquire that business. Other days I might be helping some of the business units that we've acquired or have had for a period of time. I'm helping them with their commercial contracts, whether that's signing up a customer or it's working with a vendor to get certain services into the business. It changes on a day-to-day basis. There's never the same day in a row as a lawyer, which is part of why I love the job. So I always had an interest in business. I never wanted to be siloed off into being just a lawyer. I think for me, what I find really rewarding is I get to work with our businesses very closely on a multitude of different matters. So not everything that I always touch is always strictly legal in nature. There's always a quasi-legal, quasi-business perspective to it. I enjoy the fact that I'm able to help our businesses help their customers. I also find it incredibly rewarding that I'm able to learn different skills that I wouldn't have otherwise had the opportunity to had I stayed in private practice. Working directly in the business, you really get to understand how the business operates and works, as well as meeting a whole bunch of people within the business. And you get to know those people and you build relationships with those people. So I think for me, that's probably the most rewarding part. When you're providing assistance to 18 to 20 different businesses and you're continually acquiring new businesses, you have to learn and understand how those businesses operate, what's important to those businesses, because each business is unique. So you really have to get into the weeds of each business to understand how they operate. And you're also balancing a lot of different things at once. We might be working on multiple acquisitions while certain of our business units that we already own are working on the biggest contracts they've ever entered into. So you've got your time being pulled in a lot of different directions, and I think that can be challenging, but that's rewarding at the same time, because you're being kept busy and you're doing what you set out to do. So challenges come with their own nuances, but they're not unrewarding. If you've never gone through the acquisition process, you probably don't understand when legal gets involved and how legal gets involved, nor should you. Any opportunity starts with our BD team reaching out to a potential target. And before any meaningful conversations can be had, we have to have an NDA in place. So I start right at the very beginning, when we start negotiating that non-disclosure agreement with a target, to ensure that the information they share with us is protected and that we honor the protections that the target is seeking from us, to ensure that their confidential information stays confidential. And then from there, I'm involved with any banker-led or broker-led process where we might have to submit an indication of interest, which turns into a letter of intent, which then shapes the form of our purchase agreements. I'm involved with the diligence that we conduct, and then all the way through to completion. I then help those businesses, once we own them, as I mentioned before, with all their commercial work that they need moving forward. So that's part of what I find really enjoyable about this job, is you start and you meet the people and you meet the business, and you continue to work with them for forever. There are a lot of different things that you can do right from the start of when you incorporate your business. A lot of people think that when they incorporate a business that they own that business. In Canada, at least, when you incorporate a business, you just have a business. Nobody owns the shares in that business. You have to pass resolutions in order for the shares to be issued to shareholders. What you can do early on when you start your business venture, your business journey, is find a really good accountant and find a really good lawyer to ensure that you're able to have your business materials organized on a daily, monthly, yearly basis. When you enter into a contract, make sure you file that contract away You have it signed, you've got your lawyer looking at it before you enter into it. When you file your taxes, ensure that you work with your accounting team. Maybe don't do it yourself for the first couple of years. Ensure that you're organized, truthfully, is the most important thing, because when we get into looking at a target, the more organized the business is, it makes it really easy for us to come in, look at those documents, get a really good understanding of how the business has been set up and what comprises the business, which makes the acquisition process that much faster and quicker and easier for everybody. Well, I mean, for starters, we will never strip the business down for parts, right? And I think that mindset impacts how we approach an acquisition. So we are very hands-on, we're very involved, we're very accommodating, and we're very understanding. And because we do everything in-house and we don't use external advisors, we're quick, right? When you're selling your business, you don't want it to be a lengthy process. You don't want it to be a complicated process. You want it to be simple, smooth, and efficient. It's tough to sell your business, right? When you've built this thing up over the last 15 to 30 years, it's your baby. And we understand that, maybe a little bit differently than a private equity firm does, or a strategic acquirer that is going to strip you for parts does. We get that. And I think that we're very sensitive to that. And I think that as a result of our understanding of the other side's mentality, because we've done it so many times, we make it a really easy, clean, smooth, enjoyable process. And I think that that sets us apart from any other acquirer in the space. So we've got unlimited runway. Our mission at Constellation Software is to continue to grow. We want to find a way to acquire good businesses no matter the vertical. And I think the fact that there are so many different opportunities to acquire great companies, that's exciting, right? And while we're already a big company in some people's eyes, we're very small in the grand scheme of things. And the idea of continuing to grow the team with the current team that exists is it's exciting.